So you remember yesterday we were talking about how
You want to do it?
the Jets were
What? The who?
the Jets.
Who? Oh.
The Jets were, awful on Sunday, and there was, the weather was an impact and missed field goals, and the offense didn't look right and all that stuff. And then, there were some penalties, and Robert Saleh
funny, man.
kind of threw out the cadence. Maybe there's an issue with the cadence. Rodgers.
Well, who controls the cadence?
That would be Aaron Rodgers. So Rodgers spoke about that. So
he had a response to it?
We're going to listen to Rodgers from after the game, and then Robert Saleh addressed it yesterday with the media. So here first was Aaron Rodgers from Sunday.
The cadence specifically, Robert said that might be something you guys have to dial back a little bit. Is that something you think could potentially help the situation?
It's one way to do it. The other way is hold them accountable. I mean, we haven't had an issue. We've had one false start. Morgan had one false start, I believe, until this. So it's been a weapon. We use it every day in practice. We don't, we rarely have a false start. And to have, 5 today, it seemed like, 4 or 5. Yeah, it seems like an outlier. I don't know if we need to make mass changes based on, kind of an outlier game.
So Robert Saleh spoke with the media yesterday and decided, you know what?
There's a lot to that.
I'm going to dust off my old DB skills and work on a little backpedal here in front of the media, and this is how it sounded.
Yesterday, I was mentioning operation. We're always going to push the envelope with cadence, always. But with regards to operation, getting in and out of the huddle, getting to the line of scrimmage, the communication that's being had, those are all things that we can continue to look at and clean up. But from a cadence standpoint, that's part of what makes us who we are, and we're going to continue to always push the envelope on that.
I mean, can I just go back to something that LaVar said to start the show?
Yeah.
This was an instance watching this game where, as LaVar said, he thinks about us, things that we said. I thought about LaVar, and I thought, yeah, he's right. I was like, even as good as Aaron is, he's a generational talent, man. And he still probably is not going to be able to overcome whatever the hell is happening with the Jets. It's like, I hope I'm wrong because I picked them. I'm pretty sure to win the AFC East and
them.
Make a playoff run. But this has been my worst year of NFL picks in forever. Thank God I'm not working with Pete Briscoe anymore because he would probably be, just hammering me right now. But that's what I thought, LaVar. I was like, yep, he's right. I wanted it to not be right. Love Aaron. I really do. He's a good guy. But I feel like, man, this organization just can't figure it out.
Yeah, that's just confusing. For one, just listening to Aaron Rodgers sound, it's just kind of like put the end of your interview, your statement first, delete the first part of your statement, and you would have probably been all right. You know what I mean? Like, it's an outlier deal, doesn't happen often, we'll get it right. I just feel like the first part of it is there's still, and Aaron realizes this, like just listening to his sound, he realizes now what he's really in, what he's in. Like he's in the epicenter of what it is that has been the reason why the New York Jets do not have a level of success. He's in it. And so now he's got to go into, for what it's worth, he's got to go into self-preservation, man. Because what you do not want, if you're Aaron Rodgers, because you've solidified yourself as an all-time great, what you do not want is for people to start saying, well, Mike, what's the coach there now? LaFleur, what's his first name?
Matt LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur. I mean, he's having success post Aaron Rodgers. Now they took it on the chin this past Sunday, but he seems to have his new quarterback in Love. You don't want them to go back and say, well, McCarthy, it was coaching, it was this, it was that. You just don't want to have anybody put question marks or asterisks beside your name in terms of what it is that you've accomplished. And what's going to happen here is he's going to be in a situation where it's like, why can't one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time be more of a factor in a team that has all this talent winning games? And it's a weird phenomenon of how talent will never overcome dysfunction. It'll never overcome it. And so that's, to me, that statement says, keep my name out your mouth in terms of what could be wrong, because it's really it's a different issue than me. That's what that statement says to me. And Robert Saleh, hey, bruh, like, I don't know if you bought a home there or if you're renting or whatever you got, but just have them boxes ready to go, because it ain't going to end well. This is probably going to be it. If we're being 100% up and up on what it looks like it's going to turn out to be for the Jets, this is probably it.
You know what it feels like? Robert Saleh is so desperate to win that he's okay getting doormatted by Aaron Rodgers publicly and just having to wear it. Like, whether it's the situation with the unexcused absence or not, and that whole awkward back and forth, him trying to give Rodgers a hug and Rodgers pushing him away, and they tried to explain it out afterwards. And then this time, he makes a comment about, the operation and the cadence, and then he's got to come back the next day and try and address all that. It just feels like, and I kind of feel bad for the guy, because Rodgers, in a sense, has the entire organization by the balls, because he's the only guy there who's got Super Bowl Hall of Fame credentials to pull from, and everybody else is like, we'll do whatever we can because we just want to win. We want to be have some sort of relevancy in the NFL, and so Rodgers is calling the shots, and it just feels like every week it gets a little more awkward and a little more awkward and a little more uncomfortable.
Hold people accountable,
and
this snap count hold. You know what? Hold people accountable.
Do you guys get the sense that maybe Saleh just isn't a head coach, like based on this entire experience?
Dang.
I mean, the one thing I'll say is, like, being a good coordinator, it's an accomplishment in and of itself. But there's a different set of, communication skills, social skills you need as a head coach too. And over the course, what's that?
I said it doesn't seem like he matches that criteria, but go ahead.
But no, to that point, it doesn't matter like which time frame you want to pick. There's just always been some disconnect. Like, even with the Zach Wilson stuff. I mean, you weren't talking about a future Hall of Famer there, but they still couldn't communicate things appropriately then.
Yeah, you're right.
And I don't really understand it. It's not that hard to be able to go get everyone on the same page in regards to what the company line is going to be, whether that's about injuries, whether that's about operations of the team, the offense, or whatever it is. And somehow he consistently doesn't do that. I don't know if he doesn't value the quarterback position. And look, I'm just going to say, I'm not trying to create controversy. Like, defensive-minded coaches that I have been around, they don't look at the quarterback position as important as offensive side. And you might say, well, no crap, Sherlock. I get that. But the problem then becomes, in an organization where, who are the two people that are always pointed to, always blamed, always praised? It's the head coach and quarterback. So if you have a defensive-minded head coach that gets that, it's going to work because he understands the value and the importance of the quarterback. But if you have one that doesn't, and he's off on his own, kind of saying whatever he's going to say, and the quarterback's then out there like, what the hell did he say? Like, that's never going to be copacetic. You find yourself in a situation like that, to me, in New York, and I don't know when this fracture happened. I don't know if it was the summertime where Robert Saleh came out and said it was, an unexcused absence. Probably didn't need to say that. But I get the feeling that every time I'm watching those two interact and watching a response to something that Robert Saleh said, that he's like, what did he say now? Like, what dumb thing came out of his mouth now? Like, maybe I'm the only one who feels that way.
You're not.
But I watch it and I go, there's a level of him being like, what did this bozo say now? Like, there's a feeling of that. And I don't know if that's just my perspective on it or my interpretation on it. But if you look through the years of the things Robert Saleh said and had to walk back or backtracked on, it's just like, dude, this has gone on too long. Like, you got to learn by now as a head coach. And I think one of the things that people loved about him early on as a head coach was he was so open with the press, and the way he'd communicate with the press, and, it was so refreshing there in New York. Like, well, now once you hit adversity, It's a little different. And then everyone's going to mince your words and take things out of context and do all the stuff that the media does. So I get that. It's a tough job. But he consistently cannot get on the same page as players within his organization, in particular his quarterbacks, leaders of his team. That's a problem as a head coach.
Yeah, the whole thing's
This
weird,
seems like
man.
a dap me up type of coach. And dap me up coaches, in a lot of situations, they come out on the bottom of these situations, man. You can't be the dap up coach. Like, he's the type of dude, like, you walk in, he hits you with the dap hand, not the handshake, like, good to see you, sir. Welcome into the bill. He's like the dap you up dude. Like, what's up, bro? Everything good? All right, let's do this. Like, everything, and then once you develop that comfort level, he does it probably with the media. He does it with his players. And now he done ran into one that I ain't for it. Aaron Rodgers ain't for it. Like, I'm not on that type of time right now. Like, and so for what it's worth, now he was doing those things before. Zach Wilson, he ain't gonna say anything. Zach Wilson's not going to jump out there and say anything out of his mouth that would bring any type of reproach on him or the team. So he had to take it because he ain't have enough. He ain't have enough of a resume. Now you got one in there that does have a resume, and he's sitting there like, hey, hold guys accountable. We ain't seen to have these problems in practice, whatever it may be. Yeah, I did go to Africa. I did go to Egypt.
And you ain't gonna do nothing about it.
Not one thing. Not one thing.
Do you think it has to do more with James Vanderbeek going with him instead of
like
what if
taking
he was like,
Saleh?
yeah, maybe
Like,
he was
thought-
a big fan of James
He thought
Vanderbeek.
the dap up. He thought the dap up meant that he was going to get all of the perks of having Aaron Rodgers as his
I
quarterback.
don't want your life.
Dang.
Maybe we were all big Varsity Blues fans.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. He listen. I think Robert Saleh wanted to be hanging out
Like,
with Aaron Rodgers.
side by
Like,
side,
we're buddies.
riding camels.
Yeah. Sitting in, booths, watching shows, like
smoking weed.
front and center at Saturday Night Live. Like, the possibilities that existed with his relationship with Aaron Rodgers seemed endless. You just got to take the good. You got to take the bad. You got to take them both, and there you have the facts of life.
Do you think he thought about, like, Aaron Rodgers was on his team in 300? He was
Yes.
like fighting with him, and now he realizes.
But which one was Leonidas?
Aaron Rodgers is one of the 300, and he's Xerxes. Do you think it's now like finally hit him?
Dang. So he wasn't one of the 300. Dang.
No, Saleh wasn't. Saleh's Xerxes.
Sir
I mean, he
Saleh
looks
is-
just like him.